Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Porch. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, NASCAR Cup Series racing is back tonight from Richmond under the lights. 400 laps, 300 miles, 3 stages, 70, 160, and 170. We know we got the 9 sets of tires, the 6 sticker tires, the 1 qualifying set of tires, the 2 soft tires. I know in practice we did see a difference on speeds on those softer tires, those reds. Here's my worry. At North Wilkesboro, during practice, we saw the same thing. We saw a drop off. Like, all right, this is going to work. They're going to be faster, but less laps. It's going to be great. We saw Joey Logano go 100 laps on him. I think under the lights, we're going to see a difference. I don't think we're going to have that drastic drop off like we did at North Wilkesboro. We didn't have it under the lights. I'm afraid when these tracks are colder, under the lights, cooler, these fall-offs aren't as much as we want. I hate the fact that the 2 races we've done this both under the lights. Now I think on a hot, slick racetrack, this may be the great thing for short track racing. But I'm cautiously optimistic it's going to work at Richmond under the lights, but I'm kind of worried about it, to be honest with you. So we have 2 sets of those. Teams can put them on whenever they want. We obviously know if there's a late caution, which we've had the last 3 races, we've had cautions within the last 20 laps. You know, every one of these crew chiefs is saving one of those reds for that one spot and that one spot only. The last 2 races, we've had 2 green and white checkers. So we had overtime the last race here. So we know there's a set already designated for that because that is a trend. The other set, my guess is, late in the stage, they'll kind of use as a filler to kind of get, if there's 20, 30 laps in the stage, throw them on and see what happens. We've only had 5 cautions in the last 11 Richmond races, 5 or less. Only 1 race has had more than 5 cautions. Sorry, I wrote my stat down, I only read half of it. Only one of the last 11 races have had more than 5 cautions. So typically we get 3 to 5 cautions. 1 race had 8 in the last 11. That goes back to the fall of 2018. There's not a lot of cautions at Richmond anymore. We know the Richmond from the past. We know the Richmond that Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt took each other out in turn 4. Or Dale took out Darrell, but We know the famous one where Dale crawls out the window and swiping his windshield down, driving down the front dog leg. The Richmond of that era isn't the Richmond today. Long green flag laps, late cautions, that's Richmond today. Is it going to be the greatest Richmond race ever? No. But what was? That's all opinion based. So when I watch these races, I watch them for what they are. I don't compare this Richmond race to past Richmond races. Now we see trends. Okay, trend is the last 3 races, we've had a caution inside the last 20 laps. That's a trend, so we're going to watch for that. In the Gen 7 era, since 2022, only 3 times has a driver won back-to-back races. William Byron did it early in 2023. The other 2, Richmond and Michigan. 2022, Kevin Harvick. 2023, Chris Buescher. So whoever wins the Richmond race, can they win Michigan next week and keep that 3 straight years doing that? They're completely different tracks, but we're going to take a look at Richmond stats and then similar track stats. So on the site that I go to that have the similar tracks, they look at Richmond, Phoenix, and New Hampshire. Short, flatter tracks. Phoenix and Richmond are kind of that reverse of one another. You can add Iowa in there as well. I haven't. We've only had the 1 race at Iowa. And I think that 1 race was skewed a little bit because of the repaving the corners and the non-repave of the rest of the track. Now, hopefully they repave it before next year. We have a race there next year in a Cup Series. We can see what that track's going to do compared to a Richmond. But I think next year, and there's obviously talk of it already, Richmond losing probably the spring race and that going to Mexico City. And then having 1 race at Richmond, 1 race at Iowa, which I'd be fine with. I hope they add the streets of Long Beach for the Southern California race, but it's just my opinion. All right, the last 13 races at Richmond, New Hampshire, Phoenix. This is only Gen 7 era. Anything prior to Gen 7, I don't even look at it anymore. Martin Truex Jr., 9.76 average finish with a win. Kyle Larson, identical average finish, 9.76 with a win. Denny Hamlin, 9.84 and 2 wins. Chase Briscoe, 11.3 and a win. Christopher Bell, 11.38 and 3 wins. Chris Buescher, 11.38 and a win. Ryan Blaney, 12.0. Ross Chastain, 12.0 and a win. Joey Logano, 12.76 and a win. And Chase Elliott, 13.0. The last 5 Richmond races, again, just the Gen 7 era, all the Gen 7 era. Denny Hamlin, 5.6 and 2 wins. Martin Truex Jr., 6.6. Joey Logano, 7.2. Christopher Bell, 7.6. Kyle Larson, 8.4. Chase Elliott, 9.25. Congratulations to Kyle Larson for winning the Knoxville Nationals for the 3rd time, tied with Mark Kinzer with that. Brad Keselowski, 10.4. Chris Buescher, 11.6. Kyle Busch, 13.0. William Byron, 13.2. Now, we know that first year in a Generation 7 car, there's a lot of learning, a lot of questions and stuff. So I'm going to kind of break this Richmond down from the big 5 for all 5 races to the last 3. So last year and the spring race this year, because I know there's been a lot of learning going on, a lot of changes by the crew chiefs. So in just the last 3 Richmond races, Joey Logano, 4.33. Martin Truex Jr., 7.33. Denny Hamlin, 7.66 and a win. Kyle Larson, 7.66 and a win. Brad Keselowski, 8.0. Chase Elliott, 9.0. Christopher Bell, 10.0. Chris Buescher, 13.3. Chase Briscoe, 13.66. And Ross Chastain, 14.0. Now, finishes don't tell the full story. So one stat that I've been able to get my hands on since 2022 is average running position. So this is how each driver ran average throughout the whole day. So if lap 1 they're 36th and lap 2 they're leading, their average running position is going to be, 18.5. So kind of where they've ran all day long. Typically you'll see the drivers running in the same era all day long, like maybe 5th to 10th, maybe they finish 8th, that kind of deal. Not always though. Sometimes you see them average a 17th place finish and win, or you see them average 4.5 and finish 15th. It all depends what happens once if they get out of the race. So the last 5 Richmond races, average running position: Denny Hamlin 6.79, Martin Truex Jr. 7.44, Joey Logano 8.31, Kyle Larson 8.46, Chase Elliott 9.61, and all this has to do with qualifying as well. William Byron 9.82, Brad Keselowski 10.17, and Christopher Bell 11.6. Again, we're breaking down to the last 3 Richmond races. Denny Hamlin 7.30, Martin Truex Jr. 7.75, Kyle Larson 8.46, Brad Keselowski 9.04, Bubba Wallace 9.29, Chase Elliott 9.68, Joey Logano 9.72, and William Byron 10.11. So when I do my picks in my NASCAR Fantasy Live lineups, I look at all those stats, especially average running position, and then obviously average finish to see if they're able to finish it out. Now we're going to look at points here. 4 races left: Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington. What better 4 races could we have to end the season? A short track, a 2-mile track, a super speedway, and the track that's too tough to tame. It's going to be wild, folks. It's going to be wild. All right, so we know 12 drivers have already won their way to the playoffs. With 4 races left, 12 drivers have won. They're all guaranteed to be in it. We can't have more than 16 different winners. Kyle Larson, 4 wins. Chase Elliott, 1 win. 10 points separate them for the regular season title. I know there's a lot of people out there that jump on Kyle Larson and go on about, well, he spotted the field a race and he's still leading the points. Yes and no. Yes, he missed Charlotte. So he did technically not run all the races yet, but if you look at the points, he's got a 10-point lead. If he would have finished 28th at Charlotte with no stage points, he would still be leading the points. So he could have finished 28th or worse at Charlotte and still been leading the points. His worst finish this year is 34th at Iowa. 39th at Chicago, too. So he's had 30 or worse finishes. So if he would have been 30th or worse at Charlotte, he still would be leading the points. So I just hate the whole, well, he didn't spot nobody nothing. He didn't make it there in time to start the race because his priorities were in Indy, and he's leading the points. Great. Now, Chase Elliott with 1 win is only 10 points behind. Tyler Reddick is 3rd in points with 1 win, 15 points behind. And then Denny Hamlin is 4th with 3 wins, 43 points behind. Those are really the big 4 that are running for the regular season title. I think Ryan Blaney is currently 5th overall in points, and Blaney is 75 points behind. So, I think that's going to be hard to catch up in 4 races to win the regular season title. I really think it's going to come down between Larson, Elliott, and Reddick, and then an outside chance in Denny Hamlin for that 15 bonus points for winning the regular season title. And then you get 10 bonus points for finishing second. So that difference of 5 bonus points could matter a lot. William Byron sitting 6th with 3 wins. Christopher Bell 7th with 3 wins. Brad Keselowski with a win. Alex Bowman with a win. Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez, and Austin Cindric are 12 different winners so far. Martin Truex Jr. plus 108. 4 races left. You remember you can get 60 points a race. So once we get through Daytona, if he has a 60-point lead, he clinches. Otherwise, he's got to wait till stage 1 or stage 2 at Darlington, or he wins here at Richmond. That'd be even better. Ty Gibbs plus 42. Not safe. Obviously, with 4 races left, we know what has happened with Ross Chastain in the last 3 or 4 races. Chris Buescher plus 17. That can change this week, this race. Ross Chastain plus 7. Bubba Wallace plus 7. If you look at the average finishes of these drivers at Richmond, or even look at the spring Richmond race, we can even do that. Drill down even quicker here. Look at the spring Richmond race. At spring Richmond, Bubba Wallace was 13th. Ross Chastain 9th. Buescher was 9th. Chastain 15th. Wallace 13th. Ty Gibbs 17th. Truex finished 4th. So that's kind of your playoff cut line right there. So get some stage points. Bubba can cut into that 7 points that Ross has. Ross has a bad race. That could obviously take away. And if you look at qualifying, Bubba qualified 8th. Ross qualified 22nd. Chris Buescher qualified 7th. So you got Buescher and Wallace right there together. You got Chastain way back a little bit. Ty Gibbs is 14th. So yeah, you got them all together there. So if Buescher and Bubba can get stage points and Ross doesn't, that can cut that down and change that as well. We get a new winner, that changes that as well. You figure at this point we get a new winner beyond somebody who's already in the top 16, so that drops Ross out, puts Buescher on the bubble. Unless it's Bubba, him and Ross and Bubba go down further, then, if it's Michael McDowell or if it's Todd Gilliland or somebody like that, it just really just flips it upside down again. So, and that's definitely going to happen, especially when we get to Darlington. All right, the NASCAR Fantasy Live lineup now. You're allowed 10 starts in the first 26 races. Apparently my start allocation for some of these drivers, I just blew it up already. So I'm without Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Tyler Reddick for the rest of the regular season. Oops. So my NASCAR Fantasy Live lineup looks a little weird. Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace with Josh Berry in the garage. The head-to-heads, Byron and Larson, picking Larson. Hamlin Truex, picking Hamlin. I love how they put teammates together. Logano and Elliott, I'm picking Logano. Blaney and Bowman, I am picking Blaney. On picks this year, 10-6 now in the Truck Series after the Time Jet Ski win last night. Xfinity 15-5, and then Cup 6-16. Shows how difficult Cup has been this year with all these different winners we've had. So the 4 picks to win the Cookout 400 from Richmond Raceway: Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, and Joey Logano. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.